Hi, my name is Heather Besner, and thank you for joining me today on this video so that I can tell you a little bit more about our early childhood program here at Concordia University. And I just want to thank you all for joining us as course builders for this development. We're super excited to start the program, and I'm hoping that this video gives you an overview of some of the nuances of the program and kind of the philosophical mindset we have as we build the program content. So my name is Heather Besner, and I serve as the Dean of the School of Education here at Concordia. And my background is in early childhood. I've shared that with a number of you as we've been meeting. And so I'm really excited to take one step closer toward building an early childhood master's program. And while I understand early childhood and have experience as an early childhood educator, what I don't understand as well is our master's program structure. So I knew I needed to call in an expert, and Dr. Sandy Mercier, one of the program directors in our MAED program here at Concordia, she is an expert on the master's program, how they structure their syllabi, how you build a Canvas shell, assignments that are really good for an adult learner learning online, the rubrics that they use. She has a deep knowledge and understanding of all of those aspects, which are essential when we're building a really cohesive program that supports the adult learner in an online setting. So the two of us will be working together to kind of oversee and coordinate this process. My expertise and any questions about early childhood pedagogy and the philosophical mindset we want to have when we build an early childhood program, you can bring all those questions to me. But if there are logistical questions about the syllabus or Canvas or a rubric or an assignment that would be appropriate to use, please feel free to reach out to her, and she can help you with those types of questions. I want to start by introducing our mission in the School of Education here at Concordia University, because I think this sets the context for the work that we do every day. And we are committed to preparing servant leaders who transform lives through innovative and exceptional educational practices to positively impact local and global communities. We really want every one of our students to be ready to go serve in their school setting or in their community with both a foundational understanding from a research perspective on what is best practices, to also have the practical skills to live that out every day in the classroom or in the setting that they're working, and then ultimately to really work at making a positive impact in the lives of others. So we want not just the knowledge base, but we also want the personal aptitude development so that they really do go out there and serve their communities fully, both as experts in their fields, but also with the heart of somebody who wants to serve people. We frame everything we're doing in the School of Ed around that concept of servant leadership. So there are 4 virtues that we've identified: humility, honesty, courage, and compassion. And we talk about how we can implement those into our callings that we have in our educational settings or in our life in general. And so this is really that personal development that we think sets us apart from other universities that are simply focusing on skill or cognitive understanding of what the role is that we're doing. We really want to touch people's hearts as well so that they go out and make a difference in the world. So how do you think of the needs of others while you're doing your role? How do you speak truth with love? How do you take risks for the sake of others? And how do you have empathy plus action? Those are the 4 virtues that we focus on. And we understand that Jesus was the perfect model of what it means to be a servant leader. He demonstrated all of those virtues in his life. And one of the best examples is when he washed the feet of the disciples just right before he was getting ready to sacrifice his life for us. What an act of humility and compassion that was, and courage. And we have so many stories that we can reference as Jesus modeled these virtues. But this concept of servant leadership is a way that we can wrap our faith perspective into the work that we're doing. So throughout the program, you might see in your class a preset assignment that is centered around servant leadership, because we've identified and made 5 videos and 5 devotions that speak to this, and we have strategically placed them in different classes. As you are thinking about writing your class, feel free to work on any of these virtues or ideas into the work that you're doing. But we also have preset ways that that's already happening. So a little of overview information about the Early Childhood Master's Program. It is a fully online program and asynchronous. So there will be no face-to-face requirements and no live in real time online sessions that students need to do. It's a 30-unit program. There are 10 classes. 5 of those classes are existing classes in our master's program. So there's one on servant leadership, one on brain-based teaching, one on school, family, and community, and then research and capstone. And then the 5 classes that we're putting in the early childhood program are new early childhood classes. This program will start in January. There are 8-week terms. So every 8 weeks, we offer 2 new classes for the program. We run year round. So there's a fall 1, fall 2, spring 1, spring 2, summer 1, and summer 2. And each term we offer 2 classes for the students in the program. So students can complete the program in about a year. And students can either start with a new cohort. If we have 12 or more students, we'll start a new cohort. Or if they want to go ahead and start and we don't have enough students, then we will wrap them into existing classes. This is what we do with our curriculum and instruction program and our learning design and technology program, and it really gives students the flexibility to start at any time. One thing you do need to know, though, is that you could have students in your class who this is their first class, this is their 3rd class, this is their 5th class. So you really have to create each class as a standalone class that is not dependent on knowledge or instruction that they've had in the class previous or the classes at other places in the program. So who is our audience? I think that's really important to know as you're building the class. This is not a credential program. So they're not going to come out of this program with a California credential. I expect that this will be predominantly people who already have a teaching credential, maybe an elementary teaching credential. Possibly they want to get 24 units of early childhood units to be able to be eligible to teach transitional kindergarten in California. That's going to be a new requirement starting in fall 2025, that if you teach transitional kindergarten, you have to qualify. And there's a number of ways you can qualify. One of the ways is that you have a multiple subject California credential with 24 units in early childhood. So this program, as a 30-unit program, does provide 24 units of early childhood programming. So we could have that population. We could have elementary teachers who simply are desiring a master's degree and they love lower elementary and they want to become a specialist in that area. We could have out-of-state credentialed teachers, since it's a fully online asynchronous program. We could have out-of-state credentialed teachers. So you have to keep in mind they may not be familiar with California state standards. We could have early childhood teachers who already have a BA and they're desiring a master's degree. Maybe they want to be an administrator. Maybe they want to further their own education and get a master's degree. We could have some other populations, but I'm not sure that we will have a lot of those, and I'm not sure who they would be. So predominantly, we're going to have early childhood and elementary teachers who have a foundational understanding of what it means to teach, what it means to write a lesson plan, and those types of things. This is the course. These are the courses that are being offered in the program. Feel free to pause this video at this point and look them over. Again, I just want to remind us that that's not necessarily the order that they will take them in or the course they will be paired with, since they can start the program at any time. But it does give you an overview of all the classes in the program. And again, I want to remind you that you could have new students in the class or existing students in the class. They can start the program at any time. So when you think about what you want to include in your program, if there's content that you maybe need to introduce because it could be the first class, please feel free to do that. So if you're teaching, let's say the language and literacy class, you can't assume that they already have had the early childhood curriculum class and learned how to write a lesson plan. So you might have to introduce, here's what we expect in a lesson plan. If you're not familiar with California standards, here's a little overview of California standards. The only classes that they take at the end of the program are the research and capstone class. Those are the final two classes that they will always take, but everything else they can take in any order. Some program content key points. Faith integration is really important in our program because we want to make sure we are bringing that Christian faith perspective to what we do. As I've shared with many of you, we don't have standalone theology classes, but we do wrap in the servant leadership 5 videos throughout the program, which come from a faith perspective. So that's already embedded. And then every week in our syllabi, there's a weekly faith message. So it's optional. There's not an assignment, but it is a way for us to share with people who Jesus is in the Bible and do that from a really intentional faith perspective. We have someone that we are working with that's going to be writing all of those for every course. That provides a lot of continuity to every syllabi. So we're not being redundant in what Bible verses we're using. So just know that that's already going to be done for you. We do want to focus on play-based, developmentally appropriate practices, NACE perspective, National Association for the Education of Young Children. So as we're thinking about writing these courses, we will probably have a lot of elementary trained teachers taking these courses. We want to push them and stretch their thinking to think outside of subject specific lessons and more integrated lesson planning. Help them understand the value of play-based learning, help them understand more unique approaches to early childhood education, thinking of things like Reggio Emilia, project-based learning, those things where students are up and engaged and active in their learning while they're having their class sessions during the day, and thinking less about direct instruction, whole class direct instruction. So they're going to already be, a lot of them are going to be very familiar with that. So we want to kind of stretch them to thinking differently. And then also the age range we're focusing on pre-K 3 through 2nd grade. We're not working lower than pre-K 3. We're not getting into infant and toddler. And so capping it at that age range will be important. I've already talked a little bit about the standards. They're going to need to focus on preschool learning foundation standards, Common Core, and then California standards. And these classes, the 5 early childhood, are graduate level classes. So we need to have, they need to be based in research. Also wrapping in the practitioner, what are the skills I can take from that research and apply in a classroom today? So that balance is really important, both research and practitioner. But also understanding that these 5 early childhood classes, there's a possibility that they may also be used in our undergrad program for juniors and seniors. So writing them really as foundational early childhood classes, understanding that while we have very skilled educators, we're bringing them back to what are the basic foundational principles of appropriate pre-K 3 through 2nd grade educational planning from a developmentally appropriate perspective. Anytime that you can work in a video of an authentic early childhood class experience, that would be really valuable to give people a picture of it. And then stretching their understanding of traditional subject-based direct instruction. So how do you use a project approach in a 1st grade classroom? Even for our early childhood teachers who maybe are used to pre-K 3 and pre-K 4, bringing them into, like, if you did have a 2nd grade classroom, what would it look like for you to have an integrated lesson plan in a 2nd grade classroom? So really kind of wrapping all those principles into the courses that you're building so that we come from a very developmentally appropriate perspective. Now the standards, I want to address this. So if we're currently in California, if you're doing pre-K 3, pre-K 4, or transitional kindergarten, you're working with the preschool learning foundations. But this summer, there's going to be a new set of standards called the pre-K TK learning foundations. So if you have a class that you want them to write a lesson plan for a pre-K 3, 4, or transitional kindergarten class, please make sure you watch the California Department of Ed to be able to see when those new standards are coming out so you can wrap those into your classes. And then if anybody is writing a lesson plan for kindergarten through second grade, they should use Common Core. Well, the following standards, you see what they are. The following standards that are the California standards. But I also want to say, again, this is not a credential program. Our focus is not on helping people structure a lesson plan. This is really about, can you write a lesson plan that's developmentally appropriate? So I'm less worried about they have all of the exact areas of the, in our program, we use the Gagne lesson plan. I'm not as worried that they have every element of a Gagne lesson plan. What I am worried about is that they have the standards, they have it appropriately, clearly describe what they're going to do, and that this lesson plan is developmentally appropriate. I wanted to kind of give you a little understanding about why we decided to hire co-course builders for this program. Every course is being built by 2 people. I thought it was really an opportunity to get 2 people together who had a range of skill sets, and I think it'll yield some really creative course building content. So we have people that are building courses that have preschool experience, pre-K 3 and 4 experience, a long standing years of experience in this area. So I think that experience is really valuable to bring to the table. With that being said, our master's program is a very structured program. We have over 600 students in that program. So we have to be intentional about making sure we ensure the continuity of how the program is structured so it aligns with everything else. So we've also paired you with people who understand our master's program, how the syllabi is structured, how Canvas is structured, and all of those nuances. And so the weight load for each person is the same. Each person is getting 2 units. We would typically pay one person 3 units to build a 3-unit course. So we're paying a little bit more, but I think that's well worth the investment because co-builders are going to have some time together to be able to discuss and share and collaborate ideas. So feel free to meet virtually as you kind of plan out how you want to share the course writing responsibilities. I trust you to decide how you want to do that. You could divide it up. One person does weeks 4 and weeks 4. You could do one person does the syllabus and one person is building Canvas. You could divide it up by pieces of this syllabus. Really, whatever works to your strengths is how you should divide it up. And then I wanted to, excuse me, provide a couple of really important links. This one is the course description syllabi, so I'll show you that document in a minute. And then this one is the kind of like a document that Dr. Mercier Sandy Mercier put together so that all of you could see what is being built into each other's course, so that if EDEC 500 selects a textbook, they're going to list it in there so that if EDEC 502 says it's a great textbook, I want to use the same one, then you can. You can also see what are the discussion board prompts that you're all planning to do so that we don't have a lot of repetitive discussion board prompts. There's also a place for videos so you can see what videos each class is offering. It's okay to use the same video. You're just going to want to make sure we don't overuse a video. And then the assignments so that you can see the range of assignments that people are doing. So now hopefully, okay, good, I can get back. And then the other one, I'm going to go to the next slide. The other linked document is an overview of all of the 5 courses that are being developed. You can see here at the top, we have the course name, who is writing those courses. So you can email people if you have any questions. Here is the link to the syllabus template where all the content will be provided. Here is the course description, and this cannot change. This has already been approved by the university and it's in the university catalog, so this cannot change. And then these are some key content areas. I identified key content areas that I think need to be in each course to really provide a breadth of content areas that we're addressing through this program. You can certainly add more areas to this, but and if you have any questions about these key content areas, please let me know. But these are the key areas that should be included in the course. And then some of the courses will have this: servant leadership connection must include the following discussion board prompt in one weekly session you determine. So here is the video on servant leadership and the discussion board prompt that you have to include. So if you're writing this course, you'll just make sure you add this into the syllabus at one place. So I think that, and that we break this down for every class that's being written. In this section, some of you might have something that says ID possible assignment. I put some places, I put possible assignment. So if you're thinking, you know, it's just a suggestion. If I have that listed there, you certainly don't have to do that, but if you wanted to, you could. And then every syllabus already has the course learning outcomes listed in there, and they're linked to our program learning outcomes, so I wouldn't change those. Again, if you have any questions, they need to be edited, you feel like you need to add one, please let me know, but the CLOs are pretty much done. And then here is where the Christian message is. So right here in every syllabus, every week, there's going to be a Christian message. Again, we've hired somebody that's going to write all of those for us, so you'll just leave that area blank. And then in closing, I just want to say thank you for everything you're doing. I'm really excited to see this process evolve, and we have more information that will be coming from Dr. Mercier as well. And please feel free to reach out to any of us if you have any questions. Thank you so much.